Okay, so welcome to the show. Today we're going to talk about colonoscopies.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about the importance of it, and then we're going to go right into another subject, which I think is really hitting. I want to touch on like the politics of it, but because that's leading up to Pennsylvania, the midterm elections. But how this Twitter sensation how's it going to affect voting and who is owning it now? So that's the effects of that, right? So I guess I want to share that the reason why there was a break for me was that I was leading up to this colonoscopy. Of course, you plan this for several weeks. But this is my first time doing it, and they say that you're supposed to do it at the age of 45 now, right? So
correct.
So let me tell you my experience, and then I can tell you. Then we can talk about like some of the recommendations or what some of the stuff is, or reason why you do it. So look, I was supposed to do it last year, right? I was supposed to do it last year.
Good.
So I had the script to do it in the car because I wanted to do it for my 50th birthday. That was the plan, like do it on 50th or near it anyway, right? Because somebody said, I don't think you want to do that on your 50th birthday, the actual birthday. So give it some time, like maybe a couple weeks after.
Funny. That is funny.
So I was going to do it because
I would agree with that.
So I had the script, and I don't know. I guess maybe COVID did it, but time just went by so fast, and I didn't even set the appointment. So I had to go back into the office to get another script to set it back up again. So finally did it several weeks ago and had my appointment last week. So it started off. The appointment was on. The procedure was done on Tuesday, but Sunday I couldn't eat, and then Monday. I couldn't eat after 5 on Sunday, and then I had to drink the stuff all day, or a part of the day on Monday. So let me just say how that happened. So I was like, leading up to it, I didn't even think about it. I didn't think about the procedure at all, and just the time that I had to like actually get the big jug. So it's a big jug of this powder. You did it before, right?
Yes.
Oh, so tell the people, it's a big jug of this powder that you get, right? I think it's like 4 quarts or something like that.
It's something like that. I forget. It's been a few years.
And mine had a lemon flavor. It doesn't even matter. I don't even know why they put that on it. It's so disgusting, that lemon flavor. It was so bad.
Yeah, I think mine was actually cherry, but
it's like, why would they even put the lemon? Like it made me hate lemon. That lemon flavor was, oh my gosh. But so it's like this. It's supposed to be this liquid form. So I have a water jug. So I put the water in, and I think I put a little bit of warm water in because of the mix wouldn't go fast. It wouldn't dissolve quick enough. Okay. So I put a little bit of warm water in it, to shake it up. And I did not know I had to drink. From the time
it's hard to drink, it's hard to complete.
Oh my gosh! First, you're not eating anything,
right?
And then the first thing you put in your system. I mean, you can drink like water and juice, and I think they said ginger ale, but I was like, I'm not. I think I just drink water.
Okay.
So of course I'm hardcore. So I'm like, I'm going to do the water only. I'm not going to do any sugary drinks, right?
Because you're the rebel.
I'm the true rebels, right? So and then. When I got the instructions, at the time I didn't know anything. I waited to the point that I was going to start drinking it to find out what I really had to do.
Right.
So it was like every 10 minutes, and you had to drink like 2 quarts. So I do so I guess at 5 o'clock I had to start, and then I think in the morning, I had to drink the rest of it, and I had to start at. I had to be done drinking it by 7 a.m.
Okay.
The next morning. I don't know if everyone's the same way, but
Right. I think everyone is. I can't remember. I'm trying to remember as you're saying it. I'm trying to remember what I did, but I know me. I probably drank it all in one thing. But
yeah, probably. So I couldn't. I mean, even,
right. Yeah, it's hard.
So, it's so hard. So
It's
the first it took about every 10 minutes I had it on my watch, and it was like it took a good hour or so.
Yeah, I'm sure it did.
I was like, hold up, like this is taking a while.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be like 2 or 3 pops.
Right,
I'm done.
Yeah.
But I was doing it for like every 2 minutes for like an hour, maybe an hour and a half.
Okay.
And I was like, what the hell? And then I mean, close to the the 2 liters or the 2 quarts that I was almost done. I mean, it was getting so disgusting. Like I had to coach myself. Like, all right, okay, this is okay. I'm coaching myself on the torture because I'm full.
Of course,
I'm full because I don't even eat like that
You
anyway.
right.
And then that full feeling,
belly,
my belly was like
swell.
Yeah, and it was like it was uncomfortable. So I'm like, what the hell? And I think that I just coached myself through it. And I thought at one point I was going to vomit at one point. I did think I was going to vomit.
Right.
But I got through it with some belching. And so after I finished, it took like another maybe 30 minutes. And then I started for another 2 hours or so. So I started at 5 p.m. So I finished about 6:30, maybe 6:30, close to 7. We're going into 7, so about 7:30, 8 o'clock. That's when all started coming out.
Okay.
So I mean, and I'm being very graphic about it, but the first one, because I mean, I guess because you're not eating anything, it was already a liquid anyway, but it was just brown. And then the second one was brown but a little lighter, and then all the rest of them were like either liquid, clear, bile to like almost a
just clear.
Yeah. Like almost like urinating. Yeah. It was like damn. So I did that for a couple hours, man.
Wow.
Yeah. A couple hours.
So that's what happens with those cleansings.
And I was like, yo, I mean, I never got sick of my toilet until that day. My butt was like so tired, and I was like, yo, how do people do this? But so that was in the evening. So by the time we went to go to sleep, kind of like, it kind of subsided. I didn't have anything else, so I was cool.
Okay.
So I didn't go to work. So I was planning on going to work. So I was like, all right, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to go to work and do this. So I got up early. I think a little bit before 5, just to prepare and just to get my mind ready. And I started drinking that stuff again at 5 o'clock. Right, so I'm playing PlayStation at the same time, playing John Madden.
Your priorities.
No, I'm just saying, like, what else are you gonna do from 5 a.m. to like 7?
I got you.
So I'm playing John Madden and doing my thing, drinking, and then again, I was like, I was so tired of going to the bathroom. At one point, it was basically just clear. So at one point, I'm sitting on the couch, and I said, all right, so this time I'm just going to try to because it was like, at this point, it's like full joints, but then it's like sometimes you go on the toilet and it's not, so I tried to wait for the moment where I really, really, really had to go. Because I'm tired of going. I'm tired of going at this point. So I'm sitting there on the couch, so I felt like I was doing a good job of like waiting to the moment.
Okay.
So I said, all right, I'm gonna go now. So when I get up, I'm like, damn, like I'm about to sweaty. And then when I get to the bathroom, it came out.
Okay.
So it's like you can't wait because it seeped out because it's just water at this point.
Right.
I mean, just a little tint of something,
but it's obviously flushing
out. So you can't I was like, damn, I can't even wait because it's just going to come out. because it's not like it's not fecal matter anymore.
Right,
it's
right.
like liquid.
It's not solid. Sure.
Yeah, it's like damn.
Okay.
So yeah, I had to change my pants and underwear and stuff, bro.
Okay.
That's messed up, right?
It is, but damn.
I
Part of my life. Okay.
So, and I still had more to drink. And this time, man, I mean, near the end, near 7 a.m., I'm like, still had some left. So I'm like, man, I was trying to muscle it through. And I got down to the last glass. Like before the last glass, I was like, all right. I coached myself. I was like, all right, I can get through it. I'm not going to vomit. And just don't even think about it. So I just muscled it down. Oof. Right? Then went back for another 10 minutes, man. I couldn't do it.
So
I could not do it.
Right. I think that they realize that a lot of people that whole procedure that you just went through, in terms of just taking the preparation part, is pretty hard. I think they even mentioned to me, because I think I told them I didn't finish mine either. I don't think I finished it, but
no one told me that it was going to be hard.
Well, so they I think they understand that it was, so that they say, try and choke as much of it down. In fact, I think the nurse prior to me saying
told you to try to choke it down.
She said, try and get as much of it in as you can.
Gotcha.
Because of what you just said.
Right.
But explain to people why that was important. That part of it was important, and then what happens after that. Like, because the reason I say that is because there are men who may look at this and who may watch this who are about to make that decision as well.
Right.
And it's just kind of important. This has got to be informative, but also encourage our men
to actually do it,
to do it, and encourage our women to encourage their men to do it, because it's again one of those things that is that can cause cancer, but it's completely preventable, and you certainly can. There are procedures that can stop, that can fight the cancer. So tell them what the next step in that procedure.
Right. So once I was in got to the hospital, I was, they asked me, did I, actually drink everything? And I was like, at my last glass, I didn't get to it. And I was like, is that going to matter? And she said, no, it shouldn't matter. But she said, we do encourage everyone to drink it all, because it depends on, how, your system is.
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't drink it all, then they have to come back. So because your colon has to be clean enough where they can actually view it.
So that's a good point.
Yes.
That's a point where you want to be able to tell people. You don't want to have to go through this procedure again.
You're right.
To do your best effort
to get it through.
Everything.
To drink everything, to get it all through. Don't cheat it, because if they find that they get in there, they can't. It's too. I guess you would say muddy with fecal matter.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go back.
Right.
And the nurse told me, people have to come back sometimes because they don't finish it.
Okay.
And they're honest about it, and they have to finish. I mean, you can see it.
Right. Right.
It's clear. So that's another thing, and that I was like, wow. Okay, good. Okay, I did get to most of it. So she said, yeah, it should be good. But then can I talk about can I finish the rest of the my experience?
Yeah, I think you should.
So after you drink it, I had the procedure done. I think it was 7, 8. So 6 hours later. So I had mine at 1:00. So I had to go to the hospital about 12:30, whatever. Mine started at 1:00. It's pretty simple. You're going in, just check in, and then they call you back. And then what I didn't know at the time, because I had no idea what to expect.
Sure.
But I didn't know you had to go under. I didn't know you were doing anesthesia.
Okay.
I thought they was doing it like, I don't know why I didn't know that. You like, what? How?
I'm trying to think, because I don't think I did go under, to be honest with you.
No, you did?
I'm trying to think of what it was, because I know it was painful. I know in my situation it was painful, but
really?
But maybe it was just a test. It wasn't an actual procedure. That's what the thing was. Maybe it was just a test. It wasn't an actual procedure. So, if we're talking about the same thing, so
yeah.
But for you, because you actually had a procedure done, they actually
No, it wasn't for that. So like,
Okay.
so what happened was they told me once they prepped me up, the nurse prepped me up, they put the IV in. But they prepped me all on that stuff. I was fine, and so like, oh damn, I didn't even know it was going under like that. But okay, all right, okay, I'm game. I'm game for it because so the doctor came in, young lady came in and explained everything to me. She was doing the procedure. She's very pretty, by the way, and that calmed me down. I was like, oh man, I'm in good hands now. She even touched my legs when she left out. Now I'm calm. You know what I'm saying? She did, but the thing is, she told me that they go in to view the colon for the polyps, because that's what causes the problem. It's the polyps that you can have built up. But you can have polyps that are normal, then you can have polyps that are cancerous.
Okay.
But in the procedure, they'll be able to, not knowing anything, they can go in and they can take the polyps out. And it's like, basically, as she explained to me, it's like, really, it's literally like popping a pimple, something like that. And,
Okay.
and they can take a sample of that.
Okay.
And then they can take it to the lab and see if it's cancerous or not.
Gotcha.
So they did mine, and they found 2 polyps, but it was normal. But still, I didn't know because I'm out.
Right.
So they don't tell me until after I get out.
Okay.
That what they did.
Okay.
And the results of like my my colon and everything and stuff like that. But everything was cool, but they removed 2 polyps. But the importance of getting the colonoscopy is that some of the experts recommend that not only, I thought it was just black men, but black men and black women should start doing it at the age of 45.
Yeah.
And I'm like 6 years late.
Yeah, that's when they recommend. But that also, I think, changed a few years ago.
To 45?
Right.
But think about it. Chadwick Boseman, he passed away at the age of 43.
Right. And that's what they were saying. That's a really good point. That's what back
So
then
it's
they
not
were
even-
saying. And I heard this like years ago, probably maybe even 15 years ago. It might have been at least 15 years ago, that they recommended a change, right? They recommended, they were saying that, especially if you happen to be African American, that it's important to probably do it a little earlier. So
Yes.
earlier than 50, because I think originally it started somewhere around
50, yeah.
and then it went back to 45.
Right. Because my doctor actually, when I first was asked, I had to, request it.
Right.
He's like, "You're cool."
Right.
He said, "No, you said you're only 50. You don't,
And therein lies the issue.
Right.
Therein lies the issue.
And then I was like, I just want to do it because everyone's saying that I should do it. And they said, well, okay, we'll set you up if you feel comfortable doing it.
Right.
She says, he gave me the 2 ways that you can do it. You can do the procedure where you go under, and then you can, and that's like every 5 years if everything's cool, or every 10 years or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's every
10 years.
Yeah, it's every 10 years.
But then if you do the fecal matter sample, which
Right.
you can do that.
Right.
But they said you can't actually see the physical structures of the colon, so it's not as effective. But they can tell if you're, going on the line of cancer.
Right.
But I mean but you can still do preventative stuff before that. So you might as well just go ahead and get the complete check.
Okay.
Where they see it physically.
Right.
But what was my point? I was saying that, so those two pathways, but I found out that, in those pathways, that the 2 options, go get the physical one, right?
Mm-hmm.
But to think about it, if you wait till you're 50, and like Chasman, he passed away at 40. Chadwick Boseman, I meant to say. T'Challa from Black Panther. If you didn't know that, he passed away from colon cancer at the colon, and he died at 43. And they're recommending that we get checked at 45.
Right.
And we have a 20% chance of higher than everyone else to have the cancer.
Right.
To have the cancer. And we're 40% more likely to
die,
pass away and die from
yep.
having this cancer in the colon. And unfortunately, that happened to Chadwick, right?
Yes.
And he was 43. So it's like, we maybe have to do it sooner than that.
And so that again,
like almost 10 years sooner than
right.
what they're recommending.
So again, it certainly begs what you just said was so important, and the reason why it really was important to kind of go through that entire piece that you just went through, an explanation that you went through, is that we got to, you can't put everything in the hands of a professional like that. A lot of times you have to be mindful to think of your own health. So in Travis's case, Travis said, okay, well, I think I'm a little late at 50, but I'm willing to do it anyway. And his doctor was, don't worry about it. We can wait a little later, right? So that's almost malpractice, right? That's almost, I mean, let's just keep it real. It is. I mean, because what would have happened? Because it would have been a malpractice case had he come back after saying 50, and Travis said, okay, I'll go by your recommendation. I'll wait. Right. Mm-hmm. So that would have been medical malpractice, right? At that point, for the doctor to say, yeah, I told him to wait. And of course, he contracted it, even though he asked me to do it. So,
at that point, yeah.
Right. So in our brother's case, Chadwick Boseman, in his case, I had heard, like I said, years ago, like it might have even been longer than 15 years ago, that I heard that the recommendation at that time was trending towards 45. However, they were finding men, African-American men at 45 who did contract it or had polyps, and they were thinking that it may even be earlier than 45.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Right? And then with our brother, passing away like that, it's clearly is there, right? So it's one of those things where I think that one of the moral to the story might be that whether or not you think that there is an issue with that ailment or any ailment, mm-hmm. that you have to be an advocate for yourself, and if you have to say, listen, yeah, I get it. Perhaps I don't show any signs of any type of pathology anywhere, but I want to be cautious. I want to err on the side of being cautious because mm-hmm. there's more at stake than my pride. There's more at stake than a good feeling or the way that I feel right now. I've got family members, responsibility, people who love me and who I love. Right. And I think that they're worth me, taking an hour or, to prepare myself for this, or to go overnight without eating and fasting and, sitting on
totally worth it.
The toilet pooping all night.
It's just like, what, Eric from the Mobility Fitness said that the last time he was on was that a lot of these diseases are preventable, and that's the problem that, we have. And in the spirit of the True Rebels Attain Victory model, right, we need to have our own doctors and our own recommendations, right? We need to have that, and we need to be putting our young in training, and I guess early training. We need to have an AAU for doctors, right, for our people. The AAUs, amateur association. Right. We need to have those, like they have the young Republicans, right? We need to have the young black doctors.
Yeah, I mean,
we need to have that, and we need to support that with great intention, not even strategically, not even like an afterthought. This has to be done specifically for our people because we suffer from it. From not having these things in place.
And so, it kind of, also the other part of that is, the other part of that is just having serious discussions with young people, our young people, about these types of professions and how important medicine is. And not so much because it's important, it's important in a holistic sense that your community, you want to be able to give back to your community. You want to be able to take care of your community. Of course, you want to be able to take care of yourself. You know what I mean? You want to be able to make money and stuff like that, and that's all great. But it's also a really, really wonderful thing to contribute to the human family and give your significant and considerable gifts to things like medicine. And I know that it's expensive. I know that The time that it takes to get through school is going to be a lot of time and all those things. But we've got to begin to, I would like to think that some young people can start thinking about higher purpose things. And I get it. Don't get me wrong. I understand, rapping is something that is attractive to people, and athletics is very attractive to people and stuff like that. And being an entertainer and all those things are good, and they have their place. But also in a community, again, we have to have a very holistic approach to what the community needs. And we certainly need healthcare professionals and people who understand our way of eating, our way of thinking, our way of, healing. And some of those and some of those great ideas and some of those great techniques will come from you, will come from our children, will come from us.
But also, I have to say, Mr. Wilson, that with high purpose ideas that we want the young people to have, guess what we need to have? We need to have adults who are supporting them to have those same high purpose ideas as well, to push them.
Of course, that's my point.
And not let them turn back off of their mission.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
We have that, right. We have
to have that.
Those discussions.
And we can't be only pushing people to be a basketball player or football player. Like, come on, man. That's not the only, sports is not the only thing. Or a rapper, definitely don't want to push anyone in that. Okay?
Right.
I'm just being honest.
No, I agree. I agree.
You need to stop doing that.
I agree. I think that again, as parents, as parents, and even just as parents, and even as just people who relate to young people, and the day-to-day course of action, where we're talking to young people, or we have their ears and we have some influence with them, to encourage them into higher things. Seriously, I mean, I honestly believe that somewhere along the lines, we've missed these wonderful conversations about contributing to the human family as a whole, like high ideals of what law means and how you can impact the law, how your creative process and understanding of the law helps to impact the law. Look at Ketanji Brown, our sister. She's a young black woman who's now on the Supreme Court and who's had she's had people who supported her, of course, but she also was a young woman that had like these great ideas of how to apply the law so that it can be enriching and empowering to all people, right? I mean, an amazing woman, right? So somebody, when she was a young girl, somewhere, somehow, she's probably had an experience that lit a spark in her that said, yeah, I really would love to do that. And so I really would like to encourage having those discussions amongst us, not just amongst our children, but amongst other young people that we know, where we begin to discuss things like medicine, law, science, mathematics, business, all of these wonderful things that can contribute to our community, to all communities. I said the human family, obviously, the human family in general, but how it can impact our communities in general, because we certainly need them, right? Just as we need all the other services. And again, the importance of that is that there is clear evidence, for example, in the medical community, that there are serious percentages of the way black and white medicine is applied to people, right? So we're in situations where our people, man, are suffering, right, from a lack of great health care among professionals who should know better. But there's something basically wrong with that. And the only way that you can counteract that is by having your people involved in some of that. Our people being the gatekeepers and discussing health amongst our people. So I'm just hopeful that we can begin to get back to serious discussions like that. And hopefully some of the other discussions about being, a great dancer and being a great, rapper or comedian, those are great as well. They are welcome and people need those. But the truth of the matter is that overall, it really would be good to have some serious discussions about those other professions. How to
preserve our life, really,
and how to preserve our life.
I think that's more important.
Absolutely,
and segueing right into like the high ideals that we need to push our youth into having. I'm about to say, I would push the adults to start having these discussions. But think about the need to have it we're going to start talking about right now the idea of the Black Twitter, right? Black Twitter. We use that platform like we're like on that platform strongly, right?
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm you know,
you're not on Twitter,
really
but you know, people even. I mean, we're on it so much that we called it Black Twitter.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. To the point where, to be quite honest with you, I was really confused. I didn't know it was whether or not it was actual Black Twitter or not until Mr. Sellers made a distinction for me. So I really.
Well, that doesn't mean that we use it a lot.
That doesn't mean that we own it. Right. Exactly.
And that's what we're talking about, the high ideals. Of pushing forward and making our own spaces. I know it's tough, but think about it. Like, so now Elon Musk has taken over the Twitter. They said that the use of the N-word on Twitter jumped by almost 500%.
Sure.
500. It's like what?
Right. Well, yeah. I mean,
that speaks to a lot. But go ahead, Mrs.
No, I mean, it does speak to a lot. But I think that it one of the things that it clearly speaks to is that having a new sheriff in town means that that environment is going to be very permissible and open for that type of dialogue. It means that they know, because on just the news that they knew he had taken over, it went up. It wasn't like he said, "Okay, free reign, let's go." It was just on the news that they knew that he'd taken over. So on the day that he had taken over, the use of it went up because he had, I think that in the past he had made certain comments about free speech and that anyone should be able to say whatever they want to say, and that he would immediately, upon taking over the reins, consider putting back on the platform people who had been banned due to some of their harmful language. One of the biggest ones, of course, ex-President Trump. Right. So Trump was somebody who was banned from the platform for pushing very incendiary remarks, very violent remarks, things like that, very completely lies, total lies, right? Complete lies. And because he was doing that so much, Twitter was like, their hands were tied in a certain way. And then I think it was Giannis, I forget his name, I forget his name. He's another young guy that was very popular. I should not have mentioned the name if I didn't know exactly what it was. But his name is, I forget his name, but he's another one that was on Twitter that was banned. It was a really famous person on Twitter due to the same thing, right? Like, a lot of incendiary remarks, racial remarks, anti-Semitic stuff. But the hypocrisy in all of that is that I've known men, young men that were on Twitter that were discussing things like violence in the Black community, some of the causes of that in the Black community, and they were banned from Twitter because what they said was Twitter was saying that some of the things that they were saying was objectionable. And these are just men that I personally know, young men who just were trying to who had gotten a lot of likes and gotten a large following on Twitter as a result of their advocacy for against the violence in the Black community. So some they would say, well, some of their words were some of their words were objectionable, and we don't want those types of words on the platform. And so they were actually kicked off. I know at least one person here in the city of Philadelphia that was. So
okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, they police it like that. But again, it took that gentleman. I've seen some of the things that he did, and a lot of it was not. And from my vantage point, all of that harmful. I just think that part of that is they of course monitor things differently for different people, and so it's easy to say. For someone like Elon Musk to say, you should have free speech. He's saying that only because it's free until I say it isn't. So the reality is, you can use the N-word because, it's a word that people use or whatever. However, if you say something about rallying for unity for your people, or a certain amount of independence for your people, independent education. Well, can't have independent education. We can say the N-word, but we can't have independent education. You can't start talking about Africa and the the origins of Africa and some of the
the unity
virtues
of
of that, the unity of Africa, the unity of young men. Can't talk about that, but you can certainly use the N-word. And by the way, you can use it because all y'all use it anyway. So since a lot of black people use it and is very comfortable with it, what is the big deal about it jumping 500%? Should be jumping 1 million, since bottom line is y'all use it too and comfortable with it. So
that's so true.
Yeah, of course it is. So now LeBron came out and said, well, you know, quote, scary as AF.
That's what he would quote, scary as AF.
Right. It's what LeBron at the fact that it jumped 500%, and that Elon Musk should be somebody who kind of has to monitor that and look into that, and that may be true. But the other part is that we need to certainly do that, but we also need to make certain that, you know, we're kind of monitoring that amongst our own people.
And I respect, I respect LeBron James, but
you and I both.
On his very HBO show, he uses the N-word on his show.
Really? He used it?
Yes.
He personally used it?
He personally used it on his show. And it's like, you know, to me, I don't understand how, like, we continue to have this, I don't know, this rationale that, oh my gosh, I mean, for me, it's surprising that it's 500% because I don't use the N-word. But for you, you use it.
Right. It just shows the serious hypocrisy.
It really
that's what I'm talking about. That's why people look at, oftentimes they look at these entertainment, and that's you and I have this conversation all the time, and I don't want to, you know what I mean? But the reality is they look at these dudes like they clowns, man. And they know that they're clowns because they know you got a nerve to tell me how I should be monitoring things when you personally use it on your show. If you have such indignation about it, why don't you ban it from your show and ban your guests from saying it too? So why don't you personally stop using it?
That's because we embrace it.
Well, but
not me personally, but
yeah. But the point is, if you're embracing it, then why are you saying anything about it then? Why don't you let that go and talk about something else?
Hey, but that's like you said, it's hypocrisy.
Right. It's the epitome of hypocrisy
of that.
I'm really disappointed in that. Yeah. I didn't realize that he used that.
Yeah, because I remember watching it. I was like, damn, wow.
Yeah. I'm disappointed in that.
All right, you know. And I don't think it was used as a term of endearment. I don't even care, to be honest with you.
There's no term of endearment. First of all, it's never used. First of all, let's just stop that ridiculous, silly, stupid thing, man. I'm so tired of that. Like people saying that when the reality is the evidence is different. The evidence is different. There are no ways that word has been used that you know of that you could say, "Oh, I'm enlightened now." It is an endearing term.
Yeah.
When in any music, in any song, any movie, did anybody use it where you feel good, where you felt great about it, and said, "Oh, my bad, I'm wrong about this. Right. Let me begin, to start using this, gratuitously."
But I think what happens is it's propaganda. And if you don't know what that word is, you need to look it up. It's propaganda, and it does play over and play over and over and over again, and then you like, everyone does it.
Right.
It's acceptable.
And that is indicative of the problem.
What?
There are we discussed this before. There are lots of words that are taken out of the American lexicon because they've aged. They've gotten to the point where people realize that they are harmful. And as a result of being that, there are words that do get canceled and should get canceled. There are things that the country, the nation grows, the consciousness grows. Like things happen where you say, okay, maybe we did something that back in the 1800s that we no longer do. Why? Because we've already grown, we advanced, and we're past that. There are certain words perhaps that we've used in the 50s that we will no longer use in the 70s. There's probably certain words that we were acceptable, that were accepted, that we didn't realize had real serious harm to them. And this is one of those words.
I really think
this is one of those words. So
I think it's strategically been used against us, and it's not on purpose that we decided that we were going to embrace it. Like, rappers say we're empowering it. It's like, okay.
I mean, like, again, why would you listen to a rapper? Why would you listen to a rapper say what he's going to do and look at that as supposed to be something intelligent enough that you would want to follow? I mean, let's just keep it real.
I just think
these are not people who are even capable of that.
I think it's our fault a little bit too.
No, it's definitely. What do you mean by our?
Not our fault. What I mean is that the intelligent individuals amongst us, it's a little bit of their responsibility too, because they allowed this dialogue to go on. I mean, I embrace. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like when rap was coming out with 2 Live Crew and NWA was. I didn't really particularly care for NWA that much. But they had some cool stuff. But but the thing is, we embraced it.
Yeah, my point is, and I agree with that. And
we would have shut it down when
right. So there's some
Tucker was going against it.
But the reason why again, I think we even may have hit on this before. But the reason why often we don't is because we are in a strange phenomenon where our people tend to sacrifice the needs of the many for the needs of one.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So what happens is, well, he's out there doing something positive. He's not killing anybody. He's just talking about killing people. He's just going over
and
how
he's making money.
And he's making money. As long as he's making money, we should be happy with that.
True.
Which is again that
he does something for. He gives
reasoning.
book bags for the community. Book bags,
right? Well, or whatever. I mean, the bottom line is that money. Again, we catapult one person into the 1% at the detriment of the many of our people and our young people. Look at some of those guys as heroes, and clearly they are the reason why, a large reason why, unfortunately, a lot of the accepted violence in the streets. So to that point, as I pivot, I'm not to go off on the whole thing with rap, but
it's a great pivot.
It pivots right into just recently. I think last night, Travis told me about one of a rap group, one of the guys who was just killed at a birthday celebration or something like that, and a pretty well-known guy, right?
So the Amigos member, Takeover, was murdered. They were, I think, a roller skate ring, and they were doing dice. That's what I read. They were doing dice,
gambling, shooting craps.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. But still, because we had looked at each other as the N-word. It's easy. Whatever the exchange could be, I'm gonna kill you. That's the conflict resolution process. Okay,
right.
Something happens.
Right.
I'm gonna kill you.
Right.
Because why? You're N-word. You're nothing.
You're an object.
Yeah. You're just
not
an
a
object.
person.
Yeah. Exactly. So I can't even do like normal things or be amongst people in a common area without being at risk. Like, because you're talking about a gentleman, probably he has tons of money, access to money and wealth, that he really doesn't need to be in that situation.
There are places where you can shoot dice. They're called casinos. You know what I mean? So there are places where you can gamble and do those things. And if you
legally and safely.
Legally and safely, yes. And you get your winnings and you go home and you enjoy your life. You know what I mean? If you do that. So there are places for that. And not to mention that unless this was a licensed what was it? A bowling alley? What was it?
Yeah, I thought I read that it was a roller rink.
Right. So unless this was a roller rink that was a licensed casino and roller rink, that was the improper place to do that in the first place. And to have an impromptu crap game like that, almost all of those you and I both know. Well, I know
historically.
They always they tend to end in violence because they're so subjective. And they're just out there. So but this again is what I mean by how
sad thing, man.
These are not the people that should be the type sort of people that should be in leadership positions or should have such influence on our intellect. Right. Like the reality is, man. If you think about it, y'all, there are almost no other people on the planet that have entertainers as leaders in their groups. For comparison, there's simply no other ethnic group or culture that celebrates entertainment as
to that level, right?
Certainly to that level. You don't see anybody, you don't see other groups that wield that type of influence, and when they try to wield that type of influence, they are quickly put in their place. Right? Listen, you're a singer, you're a dancer. Take your backside out of here. You do not, the complex, the complexities of building a nation and what a nation needs, right. You are not involved in. Now, when I want to laugh or when I want to be entertained by singing, I'll call you. Okay, but other than that, relegate your ass to the back of the line until you're called forward. The people that are called forward are going to be other people that are serious about the day-to-day operations of learning how to,
and to be honest,
whatever a nation needs.
And that's. I mean, I agree with all those things, but the thing that I have, my challenge is that we also have to step up into that role. We have to step up into that challenge and take it on, and really try to meet the needs of the people.
Yeah, but that comes from the discussion, like I said earlier.
Oh, yeah.
To take out this inordinate love of all things that have to do with entertainment.
Right.
I think
it's true.
Minister Nuri Muhammad of the Nation of Islam. I heard something recently that I recall from back in the day, and it hit me differently for whatever reason. You know how you hear something earlier in your life and it impacts you, and you hear it again, definitely. And it puts you on another level. Anyway, I read this many years ago, probably, I don't know, 30 years ago. There's a mantra that many of the slave-owning Europeans had when they brought Africans to the shores of the Americas. So the mantra is, sing for me, nigga, dance for me, nigger. Sing for me, dance for me, something else, die for me, nigger. Right? That's the mantra, right? That's their mantra. That was something that was said amongst many slaveholding white men at the time. So either you're going to sing for me, dance for me, entertain me, or you're going to die. In other words, what he's saying is, so you're going to do either. That small mantra that they had is one that we've taken as our mantra for making money. So either we're going to sing, we're going to dance, we're going to entertain, or we're going to sell drugs, right? We're going to do either one of those four things: sing, dance, entertain, or sell poison to our people in order to make money. In other words, dying. That's the die part. But at that time, back then, it was sing, dance, entertain, or be lynched for it, right? So now we've taken that mantra almost as our own. Many of us have taken that mantra as our own, and our young people now only know those things. It's so ingrained in the culture now that the only thing that they understand is singing, dancing, entertaining, or I'm going into the underground economy, which I know somebody's going to be killed, right? So all of those things are those four things are such a small, it's almost an infinitesimal way of making money when you've got this huge universe of ways to make legitimate money. And we don't discuss those things. That's what I mean by having serious discussions about, baby, you should be thinking about medicine. You're an intelligent individual. Right. Baby, you should be thinking about the law. The way that you read and your understanding of history and your understanding of arguments, the way that you debate, you should be involved in these important things. Yeah. I know that they may sound boring, but we don't. I think that oftentimes people don't have those discussions and to let young children know how important they are. And I can guarantee you, I've heard personally plenty of people who have those discussions with their children, little Asian parents. Right. I mean, parents telling their little Asian children, hey, I want you to go into medicine. You should be doing A, B, C, and D. Yeah. They don't say, I want you to be the next ass shaker. Man, I don't want you to be the next rapper. They don't have that. Whereas in the black community, unfortunately, particularly oftentimes in North America, those discussions, they're kind of like, hey, whatever you can do to get your ass out of the house and pay your own bills, they're fine with me. And if that means being a rapper, it could mean going to college. But if it means going to college and still being a rapper, be that. We heard a story last week where a guy literally had a full ride to Drexel University, I think it was. Drexel University is certainly in the top 5, maybe in the top 3 engineering schools in the country, which means it's probably one of the best universities in the world. Drexel University, this guy got a full 4-year ride, went to California. He finally, he graduated. He actually graduated and then told his family promptly, you know what? I'm going to be a rapper. And I'm going to LA and I'm going to be a rapper. And I need you guys to facilitate my... You need to finance, my living in LA. I need an apartment there, and that's what it's going to be. So whatever it is that I've learned in Drexel University. First of all, Drexel University is a school. To be quite honest, we discussed this before, that you take seriously. Like, Drexel is not a university. With all due respect, is not a university for people who don't have a grasp of academics. It's just not. It's not one of those types of schools. It is a serious school, and frankly, you got to be smart to go there. It's just, it is what it is. This kid, he was able to do that, and he graduated, and now he's on to a life of being a rapper. And from what I understand so far, that hasn't been so successful, and not necessarily because he isn't talented, but it kind of takes time. But it's silly for someone to be at that age.
That was very kind. It hasn't been successful.
Yeah, well, I mean, at this point, it hasn't, from what I understand. But someone has to intervene and discuss, and should have been discussing.
There needs to be some intervention.
There needs to be some intervention
to music and entertainment.
That you can accomplish all of that, and at the end of it, you want to be a rapper? Like one of the base things on earth that you can be. Whereas the whole world, everybody says, well, rap is important because, this, that, and the other thing. Rap is important because you can use it to sell and market all kinds of things based on the beats and the attitudes of it, but don't nobody want to be that. Nobody, they say, well, they want to be black, they act like us. No, they don't. They don't want to be black. They don't want that. They want the coolness. They want that part. But they're going to go to school. They're going to get a serious education, and they're going to contribute to their communities in a very positive way. They're not going to take that and say, you know what, I like rappers, so I'm going to get this gun, and I'm really going to be one, and go to my community and begin to start arbitrarily firing on innocent people that have nothing to do with my lifestyle. They're not going to do that. You can cancel that. So
that's another discussion we can have. Like the capitalism of
absolutely
of entertainment.
Sure.
Is it really a positive thing for our
Sing
community?
for me, dance for me, entertain me, or die for me, nigga.
Right.
That's what the mantra was, and it's been proven, and it's alive and well in 2022.
So out there, if you're a parent, I would say that you should be having your kids reading to compete in this environment where they can go into any of the spaces of discipline and academia. It could be medicine, it could be law, it can be engineering, it could be business. And businesses need to be, when we create businesses, we need to be employing people. That's what a business does. You employ your people. So it's not just being an entrepreneur. We push that so casually, entrepreneurship. But entrepreneurship we need is to create a business where it hires people.
Sure,
lots of people, not just you and
you got to start somewhere. Sometimes
I know, but the vision has to be long term.
Absolutely.
Agree. Yeah. Thanks for listening. I think this was a great episode. A good episode, good discussion that we need to have and continue the discussion. Rest in peace to I don't remember his real name, but the member of Amigos Takeover. Unfortunately, I have to say Takeover. I'm sorry. I think that's a little bit not iron
It's
him.
terrible. It's sad.
Yeah, it is sad. But we got to keep having these discussions.
Absolutely.
Hopefully, we can impact the community by our contribution to be willing to have the conversation. So listen in. We're on True Rebels Attain Victory on our, I think we are on Twitter. We're on Twitter, but it's not that, active because I'm not really, trying to be a part of Twitter anymore. I'm not trying to be a part of Twitter anymore, to be honest with you. So we're on YouTube. True Rebels Attain Victory. We're still on Instagram, True Rebels Attain Victory, and, like, share, and subscribe to our channels, please. If you like our content.
Absolutely.
So thanks for joining us. Peace and love.
Peace and love. Thanks, y'all.